Klopp insists that the return of Michael Edwards as Fenway Sports Group's Chief Executive of Football will not impact his decision to leave the club at the end of the season.
Greg, thank you very much for that. Now, tomorrow will be Social Prescribing Day. It's a free service run by the HSE to link people to supports and groups in their communities. And here to tell us what it's all about is Orla Walsh, Project Manager at the Mental Health and Wellbeing programme in the HSE, and Eithne Foley, who's a social prescribing link worker in Leakela Family Resource Centre in Mallow. And you're both very welcome to the programme. Orla, can you just remind us what social prescribing is?
Absolutely, yeah. It's a free HSE funded service which connects people in with local community groups and activities that can improve our health and well-being. It's a service for anybody over the age of 18 who feel they might benefit from it. Often participants are people who might be lonely or isolated, who might need support with their mental health or who might have long-term conditions. And the types of supports that the social prescribing link worker might link people in with could be really broad and varied. It depends what's available in their locality. It could be something like park run or walking groups. It could be mother and toddler groups. It could be stress prevention and management courses. It could be community gardening or arts and creativity. It really depends what's available in their locality. People can self-refer into the service, or they could be referred in via a GP or a health professional.
And how or who pays for it? Do you have to pay for the service to get your social prescription, and how do you find out where to go?
Okay, this is a free service offered by the HSE and it's delivered in partnership with our community and voluntary partners. So in order to find out where your local service is, the best place to go is the HSE funded website, allirelandsocialprescribing.ie. You'll find a map of the country and you just click on your county and you'll be able to directly link in with your local service.
It sounds really fascinating, actually. I might bring in Eithne Foley, who's a social prescribing link worker in the Leakela Family Resource Centre in Mallow. You're very welcome, Eithne, to the programme. What happens then when somebody's referred to you?
So when someone's referred to a link worker, typically we would phone them first and explain what the service is and just make sure that the person is happy to proceed at that point. And then we would sit down and talk to them and talk to the person about what's going on in their life and really about what they want to change, what they want to be different. And so as the conversations would go on, then we would talk to them about the local community resources that are available that they might not be aware of that might suit them. Mm-hmm. And as social prescribers, our motto is very much, it's not what's the matter with you, it's what matters to you. Okay. So it's all about what the person themselves is interested in. For one person, it could be to make friends. For somebody else, it could be to start volunteering. Somebody might want to get back into education or take up a new hobby. And I suppose after COVID, a lot of people were getting back into things they'd stopped doing during COVID, and we're still seeing some of that.
Okay.
So just people getting out and about because people are happier and healthier when they're connected to their communities.
And there's nothing like meeting somebody or talking to somebody who's in the know to put you right as well. It's much better than searching online, for example, yourself. You have an example of a young woman called Susan who turned her life around.
Yes, so this is the lady I worked with. Susan isn't her real name, but she's from the area originally, but she travelled a lot in her 20s and moved back to the area, so didn't really know anybody. And she was referred into social prescribing by the HSE Mental Health Service. And she came to see me here in the Leakela Family Resource Centre in Mallow. And I asked what she hoped to get out of the service. And she said she wanted to get back to being the real her, to have a reason to get out of bed in the morning, and eventually to start teaching felting again, which is what she had done earlier. And in the first session, we talked about her strengths and the resilience that she had managed her depression for the previous couple of years. And as the sessions went on, I signposted her to local community resources. And she tried out a few activities, including a Tai Chi class and a gardening group, but she felt she wasn't quite confident enough for each either. Mm-hmm. And Christmas was a very tough period for her, but when we met in the new year, she had really strengthened her resolve and strengthened her determination for change. So she engaged in a personal development course, which was running here in Leakela, and she described that as the best thing that ever happened to her, and it was a complete turning point for her. And after that course, she then signed up for an ETB course, with the view of working the way back again to teaching. And, the last session we were trying to arrange, it was hard to arrange because she had so much on in her week. We could hardly get a slot where she could see me. And I thought, well, that's exactly a great complaint for a social prescriber to have. So, we're finished now together, but the door is always open for her to re-engage in the future.
Okay, so that's a really good example of how it's worked. Orla, I might come back to yourself, and I wonder what about people who might be a bit reluctant about this, who might think, maybe I could do with this, but I might not like what they offer, I feel awkward going into a group, or, would have various different fears around what might be prescribed for them.
Yeah, and I can completely understand that. I suppose what I would say, Sarah, is there's something for everybody, usually. Sometimes it might just be the link with the link worker, having that time and space to be listened to for a half an hour or an hour, and that might be all a person needs. Other times they might feel with that bit of a nudge and support from the social prescribing link worker, they might feel ready to kind of engage with the community group. Some social prescribing services run courses like Discover Your Interest as a kind of a stepping stone, firstly, to kind of start that process of engaging with the community group. So it's a flexible service that can be tailored to suit the needs of service users. It's not going to be for everybody, but if people are ready to make that first step and engage and connect with their local community, it might just be for you.
And Eithne, what are the common sort of problems or themes that you see that people come to you with? Do you see a couple of patterns that are emerging?
Yeah, I suppose the most common is probably people wanting to make friends, make new friends, make more friends. That's one of the most common things that we've come across. People wanting to take up a new hobby, to try something new. It's often a reason to get out of bed in the morning or putting structure in the week, because some of the people who come to us might be recently bereaved or recently moved into the area or recently retired. So there's like a very broad spectrum of those kind of things. And physical activity, of course, is another massive part of it. So people often think, for example, a walk group is a really good starting point for a lot of social prescribing clients, because you're getting your physical activity, you're out in the fresh air, it's a free activity, and you're chatting as well.
Okay.
So that's often a starting point for people, and we have a lovely walking group here in the Kayla. We're very lucky. And then people might move on from there to a women's group or a men's group. The libraries have fantastic free resources going on all over the country. So they're the kind of things then that we would link people into.
All right. We mentioned it's happening tomorrow, Social Prescribing Day, Orla, but obviously that doesn't mean it's the only day you can access it. So people who are interested, just very briefly, where can they look to get more information?
Yeah, the best place to start is allirelandsocialprescribing.ie and make direct contact with your local service by all the link workers and services contact details are available on that website.
Okay.
And tomorrow, as you mentioned, is International Social Prescribing Day, so it's a celebration of social prescribing. It's happening across the world, but in Ireland there's so much happening across our services.
Okay.
There's coffee mornings, walk and talks, introduction to meditation, there's cinema nights, there's so much going on, and there'll be a lot highlighted on social media using the hashtag Social Prescribing Day as well.
All right,
so
thank you both.
Shout out to the
Absolutely.
to the services and the link workers.
And thank you both for joining us. That's Orla Walsh and Eithne Foley.